What's up, everybody? How you doing? Today here with Gary Watts. We're gonna teach you guys the next step in the really how to carve series. So basically, if you're not carving at all yet, I would definitely consider taking a lesson. Gary's an instructor, and man, if you're not watching the right people and having the right people, you know, some people get it and some people don't. And if you're struggling with it, and a professional instructor who's been taught techniques to teach you can absolutely help. So I would consider that, because boom, you want to be carving. So if you're really ripping carves, ooh, you might want to do a laid out version like I'm kind of you see in a lot of my videos, or a Euro carve, whatever. But we have some techniques that can really make it way better than, you know, we have a visual. Gary once on a heel side version talked to me about balling up before the, and this was before I could do them, but balling up before the turn. And yeah, because we do this little motion where we compress ultra low right before, or basically right before changing edges and during changing edges. And we'll get some slow motion shots of that motion. But Gary's got even a little tip right with this tree.
Yeah, so in true tree hugger fashion here, we're gonna have to use the tree to help us out a little bit. You can really set this up in a lot of different scenarios, but what I'm gonna do to take our carving up a notch and help you to break through that plateau is start to engage the core muscles a little bit on this. So what I'm gonna use is the tree to help kind of stabilize my torso, and I'm going to use my hips and my core muscles to bring the board up underneath me. Okay?
Bending those knees, because you can't bend your knees too much on the initiation of this turn.
Exactly. And so by using the core, bending the hips, bending the knees, we're able to pull the board back underneath us and give ourselves some more options for creating some more shape in that next turn a little sooner, and managing some more of the forces into the top of that turn instead of letting it all build into the bottom of the turn. If you've ever had that feeling of kind of blowing out of the bottom of a carve, I know I have.
Yep. So getting the board going across the run a lot more as the initiation to this. Let's just make a couple of the turns. And before getting fancy with actually purposely putting the hands or any part of the body down, you just need those turns to be really clean. So how about, would you demonstrate the exact same type of turn, but without purposely touching anything to the ground? Yep, if your toe side carve's looking like that, you're ready to get it a little fancier and make it look like this. This will look a bit familiar, selfie taping it, but yeah, I'll do one turn, I'll get going here, cut across the run, do that balling, bunching up, compressing the core as tiny as I can. I'll do one without touching any part of the body, and then the next one with purposely laying her over. With that, like, bunching up and compressing that core, everything, that you could actually just practice it without your snowboard on too. Like, if you go into that laid out style of carve, being like this, where you're standing up tall through the turn, it's just not going to really work the same. So it's this motion, right as you're on your heel. Well, you'll start be on your heel side edge. I gotta be on my toes here, but it's just like this, bringing it down right here. So you're just setting your arm right there, and then extend out, pull it back and you should actually do that kind of motion pretty quick. Most people, once they get to here, they're like, yes, and they'll just hang out all day, and then the board will start chopping because there's too much forces at the bottom of the turn. But just that entry into it, it's this type of thing, compressing as much as you can so you're right here. So might be worth just standing around and even giving it that some work. But also, it's kind of an advanced turn, so unless you are really ripping those toe-side carves super hard, you might not be able to do it. But once you get to that point, it is a fun thing to just be able to throw out every now and then and get some reactions from the chairlifts often too. And speaking of this turn, to be able to extend and actually make the turn last for a little bit, we really are cutting straight across the run, because that's when low pressure is on the board, so the board doesn't chop and cut super quick. So imagine this, if you're coming straight down the hill and enter that turn, boom, so much force is right there, and the board will go chop, 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 chop. So if we start cutting across the run and enter the turn up here, getting the downhill edge down, we can, you know, this is a low pressure area of the turn, and we can extend it for a little bit, and then I'd say start pulling it in like right around here, because if you keep in that position over through here, your board's decampering so much and we'll go chop, 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 and it's just not as smooth of a feeling.
So true. It's just managing your energy through the whole turn. Being able to disperse some of those forces a little higher in it will allow you to be able to stand back up over your board as you come to the bottom of the turn.
And for safety, I will say, you know what, don't direct your momentum towards anyone or anything. I used to point it straight at trees and be like, because I never had any bad experiences, and I'd trust that my edge would hold. But yeah, I did wash out on North Star one day, flew myself into the trees. I absolutely could have gotten hurt. So definitely don't ever aim it directly at a cameraman. Aim your momentum below someone, and just not at any trees or anything, just for safety. All right, there's our main tips for making a wicked Euro carve, a laid out carve, whatever you want to call it. My last kind of things that I'd like to mention are be gentle with your shoulders. I got both bad shoulders, ACS separations in both of them, one from crashing a half pipe, one from hooking an edge on a rail and got sent. And so yeah, be gentle on your shoulders. I use elbow pads under and marine fabric vinyl. I get that glide because, and I purposely am putting a little pressure on my arm, but it's not even as much as just like that hurts. So I'm not hardly putting any pressure on it. And Gary was using his hands more, and I'm sure his hands slide. If you have, I've had windbreakers, the yellow windbreaker Smooth Snowboarding 1.0, that really glided nicely until I tore it up. But yeah, some jacket materials won't glide at all, so get the right equipment. I'll put some links to the marine fabric vinyl that I've put on some of my jackets, because if you're wanting to do this somewhat regularly, then you want the right equipment that will make glide and make it easy. And I also wouldn't recommend, you know, laid out Euro carve, every carve. That kind of defeats the fun, enjoyability, and how it looks. I think it's awesome just to rip some super hard quick turns and then boom, bust into that. It's kind of like a grand finale of a fireworks show or something, maybe. I don't know. It's fun to just go out, enjoy some awful views with friends, and make some sweet Euro carves. So you got any other last tips, Gary?
Yeah, I think just getting out there, I think being gentle on the shoulders for sure, progressing into it, easing in with the speed and ramping things up from there. You know what, I kind of do mine pretty fast, but on a lot of days when I'm riding with Kristen, I'll work on perfect technique of them at pretty darn low speeds. So yeah, absolutely start with lower speeds. So great tip there. Hey, thank you guys for watching. Happy shredding, and Kipla!